are you today?
Oh, good afternoon, Mandy. I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So, Matt is going to be one of our 32 authors at the Holiday Book Festival that's taking place November 30th, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Kensington Mill Falls events over in Milford, Michigan. So excited to have you join us.
Looking forward to
Um,
it.
and you have one book title?
Yes, my very first book as a science fiction writer, and it is called Eartherian's Reach. And
Oh,
I have a copy of
all
it right
right.
here. Let's see. Yeah, there we are.
Yep. Awesome.
Yep, came out in March of this year, and it is book one of a series. And have started on book two, but it's going to be a little while.
So that one you're going to be reading a portion of it,
Mhm.
and it's also going to be in the book cover contest,
Yes.
which I'm very excited about. One of my favorite things is the book cover contest, mainly because we have such a nice variety. Tell us more about your sci-fi book.
Certainly, this story is about really a generation ship that's traveling between Earth and another star system. There are hints of a secret space program. You have a crew of young people, several thousand. They wake up. Their memories have been obscured. Our protagonist, he is you sort of travel through this his lens, his view of this scenario, and this crew they encounter the stewards of the ship, the steward crew, and they said, "Oh, hey, you're part of this training program. You have to take control of the ship and its mission." And you learn more about that as the story goes, and ultimately this crew of young people has to decide, are they going to do this or not. And as you can imagine, there are some disagreements that bubble up into some conflict, and it goes from there. And of course, you can't be in outer space without the prospect of extraterrestrials and other aspects and dimensions of reality. And so the book will touch on those, and as the series evolves, that will be those will be some key parts to the story.
So you mentioned it is part of a series. So do you have any idea how many books are going to be in this series?
Right now, we're looking at probably a four-book series. This will be book one. I'm working on book two now. Then there'll definitely be a third book and probably a prequel that's going to
Oh,
come back before this. As this story was being written, so much of the exciting backstory entered into the creative process, and I started to put
hmm,
that down. I said, you know what, this is a story that may need to be told.
okay,
And is that a novel format or maybe a series of shorts? Not quite sure, but I think it'll definitely be at least four pieces that will
okay.
go into this series. Yeah.
So are you a plotter? Do you have this all outlined, or are you a pantser and just write as it comes to you?
So I am a pantser. I was sat down, and this is the real. I wish somebody would have told me, and if I would have paid attention or written to Stephen King's On Writing, I would have learned about this. That if you're a pantser, it doesn't matter how much you plot, the inspiration it just won't come to the degree that you need it to.
Hmm.
And so I've been trying to write for years, probably I want to say close to 20 years, ever since college, and
Hmm.
it was just a lack of inspiration. And I think I was listening to like a Jocko podcast, and it was like, hey, if you want to do something, I don't care what it is, I want you to stop this podcast right now and just do it. And so I stopped the podcast, I fired up, and I started writing Eartherian's Reach. I did not know where the story would take me,
Hmm.
but it started to write itself as I wrote the book. And as in between, going for a run or inspiration, as you wrote, all of a sudden the story would just kind of start streaming to you from another dimension or whatever. And that's when sort of the follow on to the book, those started to go through. So I'll say, to answer your question about the outline, I have outlined some of these other fun ideas that have come through the
Hmm.
creative process, but I guarantee you that they will change once I start writing again, in book two. So I look forward to that.
Awesome. So the first book is Ethereum's Reach. Do you have a working title or a possible title for book two?
I do. Gosh, do I want to spill it here? It's probably, I guess I reserve the right to change this, but it's probably going to be called Ethereum's Promise.
Okay.
And as a little bit of a hint, it's going to split into um, two story arcs where you're going to be very much in the sci-fi action world and then in the dark fantasy world. Um,
Oh,
that will be part of book two. So a little bit of hint, but
awesome.
the
Well,
first book is very much science fiction. Yeah,
awesome. So I will definitely need to be picking up. I'm gonna go broke at the holiday book festival because
me
as
too.
I've interviewed authors, I'm like, I need to get that book. I need to get that book. I now have a bookshelf that I can put books on. I need to fill it.
Absolutely.
So
Uh,
awesome. So, what do you do as a day job that you are writing science fiction?
Good question. I graduated as an engineer. I was in the automotive industry for a while. I've moved on to, another, uh, technical business area. Not very exciting, but I'm a program manager. Your typical, 8 to 6 kind of guy. Just got my PMP the other day, and but just using the engineering principles and being fans of science fiction and dark fantasy and just regular fantasies since I was
Mhm.
a young kid. You're able to put some of those together and bring stories to the top from that. So that not a lot of crossover in the day to day, but
Okay.
I'll just say the background and the um, just the technical thought process really helped when you talk about ship design, orbital
Mhm.
insertion, mass rotation, fake gravity. How can you do these things? You can't just wave a magic wand and say that it is. I mean, you can, right? This is
That would be
fiction.
fantasy.
But one of the things I do try to keep, I try to stay true to physics. I try to
Okay.
explain everything. I don't just point to a black box and say, "Hey, that's the warp drive," right? There's no warp in this. So I'll say that that background has helped quite a bit in telling that story.
So, Star Wars or Star Trek?
I love
Or
both.
me? Oh, do you?
I know that's going to be people are not going to like it, but and I'll tell you why. If you look at Star Trek, what you
Mhm.
have is really the future of our human race, and
Mhm.
it's spread across this evolved society and culture that's trying to sustain its I'll say galactic domain and a democratic process and all the sorts of challenges you could imagine trying to uphold this federation. And I think that that creates a whole new set of stories and characters. When you look at
Mhm.
Star Wars, you have something we don't know it's a long time ago in a galaxy far away, right? And you look at all of these different planets and cultures and
Mhm.
histories, and some are evolved, and they're all through the entire range of technology, right? And where, of course, you have this oppressive presence of the Empire, but all these other star systems that have evolved in their own way, and they have their own technology trees, and it creates for this, again, just an incredibly rich um environment to create all kinds of interesting characters, conflict, and story arcs. And so and then of course you put John Williams music on top of that, and it's incredible. So I like them both. I don't know why I have to pick one or the other, but some
Well, so
people
many
say.
times people do pick one or the other. And to me, I honestly didn't get into either one of them. So,
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So you and I are both weird. We're the weird ones.
yeah, because I didn't really get into either of them. Now, my husband was, definitely a Trekkie, and his kids are Trekkies. And in fact, his one son's wedding was very Star Trek themed. Um,
That's awesome. I approve.
so yeah, it's always interesting because so many times you do hear where it's one or the other, and it's almost like one gets offended if you refer to the other one in if you cross over stories or characters, and it's like, Really, honestly, I didn't watch either.
Yeah, and that's not my goal. I mean, I don't want people to put down Star Wars or Star Trek,
Yep.
in favor of this, right? Like it's all good science fiction.
Yes.
If you like it, you like it, and so I'm not exclusive at all. I don't aim to be exclusive.
Awesome. Yeah. What would you do if your book series took off like a Star Trek or Star Wars? And you know, you said that right now you're at 4. I can't even count how many Star Trek movies and series there are.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think one of the most fun that I had putting this book together is the standing up of, we're calling it the Arthurians team.
Mhm.
Now I've brought in, it started with finding, editors, developmental editors, copy editors on Reedsy. My really good friend Justin from high school, who's the one who did do the cover. He's also working on panels for graphics. They're going
Ooh.
to accompany this, probably coming out on the website. We're still trying to determine the venue for that. But what
Mhm.
I'm discovering very readily is that to put a book out there and to successfully market it and sustain it and to get a following, it's a team.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so if this were to catch on, I think the Arthurians team would grow to meet that demand,
Mhm.
and to bring exciting and enriching stories, characters, imagery, possibly a future, small videos or things like that,
Mhm.
to give people what they want, right? If they are enjoying this story and they're enjoying what they see, we want to make sure that we're able to provide that through the Arthurian story. So we'll rise to that challenge. Right now, the team is, again, it's working on, it's got a website, it's got a book. We're working on some graphic panels, and we've got a long way to go.
Step 1.
Step
So
one.
if it were to get into the movie aspect,
Mhm.
do you have any actors or actresses that you would think of that you would wanna have as your main characters?
That's a great, great question. Um, Gosh, and you'd think I would have spent more time on trying to match them, especially when some of the early responses, reviews on this have said, I really can see what the scene that you're portraying. You're helping me imagine it. So maybe it is something that's ripe for screenplay someday. I think I think I will have to just tell you sci-fi actors that I think would really, that I really admire, and maybe they'd audition for it, right? You have the lead character from Ender's Game. I can't recall his last name, but it's like Asa, and I can't recall his last name. You have, of course, we can't get James Earl Jones now. God rest his
Yeah,
soul.
yeah, that is
uh,
a real bummer.
yeah, a real bummer. Um, but yeah, I think especially when you're looking at some of the new Star Wars shows and
Mhm,
movies that are coming out, one of the things I really enjoy is that they do go out and seek fresh talent.
mm,
I think, and there's a nice mix of existing talent and fresh
mhm.
talent. And so I think I'd prefer some heavy hitters up front, and then maybe some fresh, new, and interesting talent that could also start growing in their careers based on this story arc. I mean, Star Wars got Harrison Ford. I mean, he was a
Right.
carpenter in Hollywood, and he read for the role in
Who would have
64.
known?
And he's one of the greatest actors of all time. So you
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
roll the dice and hope you can get something like that to happen.
Oh, that would be
So
so
yeah,
awesome. What was
but
your first
I'll think.
role?
Yeah, but I tell you what, I will think more about that. And when we bring book two to the holiday book festival, I will have a better answer for that question.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so you are married and have 3 kids and a pug?
And a pug, yes. She's great at marketing books, let me tell you. Wish I could bring her to the show, but she'd lose her marbles.
Yeah, we can't have it. Not this one, anyways. You might
Yeah.
be able to do that for June because the end of June we have one. It'll be a summer book festival, and there is an outdoor option.
Okay. Might have to look at that.
So,
Yeah. The pug will sell more books than I will, I'm sure.
because then you can have an outside tent and the pug could enjoy it. And
Absolutely.
well, I am looking forward to meeting you in person in November, um, and hearing you read part of your story. That'll be great.
Absolutely. I look forward to meeting you and the fellow authors that you've invited. Again, I'm really appreciative and humbled for the opportunity to participate in this again with my very first work. So I'm overjoyed to be part of this, and I'm really looking forward to it.
See you in November.
We'll see you then.